This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Today, extractive buggos are back in the wild. The controversial civil rights song Watertown School Board Band is getting even more play. There's a good on you for another connective local event. And we're going to talk about it all with Haley Sperling, our executive producer. Hey, Haley.
Hey, Bianca. Happy Wednesday. Happy long weekend.
Yes, we're back. We're so back. And there's a lot of good news to talk about and some meaningful warnings, I suppose. Haley, we're starting out there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but it is officially summer mode for me. I mean, we just dropped our podcast about Is Madison a Beach Town? People should definitely go back and listen to that show. But are you in summer mode, B?
I really am in summer mode. This past weekend, I made it to the beach. I don't even talk about it, but the Kohler Andre State Park over in Sheboygan, and we're talking about Sheboygan, and there were tons of people out, and it was beautiful. And I was thinking about ticks.
Aren't we all? Yes, since we are all about to be spending so much time outside, it is unfortunately a really good time to talk about one of my greatest fears. You said it, ticks. I hate it. Tick season is off to a bad start. That was literally the headline of a recent article from Public Health Madison and Dane County. So a big old yikes to kick off this season. An epidemiologist that Public Health quoted said that emergency department visits in the U.S. are, quote, nearly triple the rate at this time of year, and that the Northeast is, quote, bearing the brunt of it, with the Midwest running a close second, unquote. Bianca, I mean, are you as disturbed by ticks as I am? I'm just so unsettled by them. They're so small. They cause so much damage. They just look really icky. And I like bugs. I'm okay with bugs. Like, I love, you know me, I love shrimps as bugs. But ticks, hate so much.
Well, I think that's fair. And yes, there is a world in which they get to live too, right? But unfortunately, Lyme's disease is really not something to mess with. And I just know so many people in my life that struggle with it, and it's very serious. And so I am afraid of ticks. Particularly, I know you and I both just went to weddings this past weekend, but one story, I had a friend who showed up to Mexico, and in their luggage, like a tick had made it. And they had been camping weeks and weeks prior, and the tick was emaciated but still alive. So they're hardy. And all of the time spent, you got to try and get the tick out. I was a woodsy girl growing up. I still am. So I'm very used to that process of, we should check for ticks. But it doesn't feel good to know that there's an alarming number of problems this season.
Yeah, this season is rough. Like you said, I was also at a wedding, and this one was in the woods, and the wedding party went to go to get their photos taken in this beautiful forest scenery, and I'm shouting after them check for ticks! Be careful! They'll hide in the ruffles! But there's, you mentioned Lyme disease, ticks carry diseases. It's not just Lyme, also Powassan virus, anaplasmosis, and more. According to some recent WPR reporting, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services says the number of Lyme disease cases in the state has quadrupled over the past 20 years. And just for some context, like I said, ticks can be really small. And in the period of time we're in now, late May to mid-July, ticks can be as small as a poppy seed, so they are hard to see. So check yourselves, check your friends, but also really importantly, check your pets. They can be really big carriers for those things. And, animals can also get sick, especially, if you like to bring your dog out into the woods, as is a super normal thing that folks do here. Also, according to Public Health, just some symptoms to watch out for. The symptoms of tick-borne diseases are usually pretty similar, is what they say, and they often start within 30 days after a tick bite from an infected tick. And those symptoms include fever or chills, a rash, which, there's the famous rash that can look like a bullseye, but keep in mind, not everyone gets that one, headache, fatigue, and then muscle and or joint aches. So Are you afraid yet? Like,
Well, I'm just so glad that we're starting this out this way because I was literally just at the beach that also had a little woodsy area and walking around and just knowing that we're exposed to ticks so frequently here in our state. And I think it's important that people act quickly, check yourself right away. And if anything comes up, like even just to be safe, if you see something that seems like it's that bullseye, go in. I know that I went in and was treated like in that sort of just in case scenario, but Lyme's disease, and I'm not sure about the other ones, but Lyme's disease can last a lifetime, and it really is sort of that period early on. I'm not a doctor, but just from my own experience, what I've been told, what, people I know who have gotten Lyme's disease have been told, like, you really want to try and get that handled ASAP.
yeah, it really is all about like prevention and making sure you are on top of it. And I don't want to fearmonger here, so I will give you guys some good news. The fact of the matter, right, if there could be, the fact of the matter is not all ticks carry diseases. So it is important to know if you got bit, like who did it, aka like, is the tick that bit you a disease carrier? So according to Public Health, again, the most common type of tick that people and animals get sick from in Wisconsin is the deer tick, which is also called the black-legged tick. If you get bitten by a tick and you want to know what kind of tick you're looking at, what happened, whether it's on you, your animal, whatnot, you can actually submit an image for identification to the Wisconsin Department of Health Services Tick Identification Service. They will tell you what kind of tick it is. And you can also download the tick app to log any tick encounters and get some personalized prevention tips there. So there's some actionables there. We can throw links to those in our show notes. And, too, if folks want to hear more tips for preventing tick bites and also getting ahead of mosquito season, we've got a podcast for that. A couple years ago, Bianca, you spoke with Lyric Bartholomew, who is the director of the Midwest Center for Excellence for Vector-Borne Diseases. And I know you guys got a bunch of details on how to protect yourself and your pets from ticks and mosquitoes. That conversation was framed around the fall time, but still very relevant today as we head into early summer. So it's huge, right? It's huge. Be careful of the ticks.
Beware of the ticks. And on the topic of enjoying the good things in life, despite some of Earth's creatures' best laid plans, the LGBTQIA plus song Watertown School Board Band will get more of an audience here in Madison tomorrow. We're going to talk about that, pivot. But before we do, let's take a quick break. Okay, y'all. So Madisonians are now joining the bandwagon to help support Watertown High School band students after their school board voted earlier this month to remove a quote-unquote controversial song from their final concert. The piece of music is entitled Mother of a Revolution, and it's inspired by the civil rights activist Marsha P. Johnson, a Black transgender woman who put her body and voice on the line in the 1960s and 70s New York. And the piece also gets into the Stonewall riots and other members that participated. The board said that the piece violated the district's controversial issues policy and risked indoctrination. So background, the students have been preparing to play the song for 5 months. They had permission slips signed, like people were able to opt in and out if they didn't want their kids to perform this song. And kind of last minute, the school board came in and were like, we're going to stop this. And I don't know if y'all, listening have seen the news, but really this action just amplified the reach of the song and the point to spread awareness of the struggle for LGBTQIA rights. So Haley, last Wednesday, the actual composer Omar Thomas flew in to conduct a concert for the 4.5-minute song at the Emmanuel Evangelical Lutheran Church in Watertown. And that was a huge audience. And there's also going to be a performance happening in Madison tomorrow, which we want to talk about. But I want to just kiki and talk about this because this story has been really, at first hard to watch, but has turned around to be an inspiring moment.
Yeah, I think I have felt almost every single emotion pass through my body in just like that minute of your explanation. there's a lot of rage, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of hope, and there's a lot of happiness. You saying that school officials were worried about quote unquote indoctrination. I know we're a podcast, people can't see, but the way my eyes rolled to the back of my head, the constant villainization of the LGBTQIA community is so violent and unnecessary, in my opinion. And it showing up here is just, I can't picture anything like this happening in Madison. I know that we are the blue bubble that we are, but I think it is so interesting to see a story like this blow up, and just to see how, for lack of a better word, how out of vogue homophobia is. People are just like, this is not it. Like, we're past this, right? Like, I thought we were past this. So to see the community really rallying together and saying, like, we want to play this song, we're going to do it. And also we're going to draw a big crowd. We're going to draw the biggest crowd you've ever seen. So that's what's giving me hope, right? Is a community standing up for their rights and for their beliefs. So shout out to the folks of Watertown. And I know, like you said, people in Madison are getting in on the story too. So like, this is really, I think it's so funny that it's had like the complete opposite effect of everything that they wanted, right? It's like, you wanted to squish this song away. And like, guess what? This has just become a rallying cry for so many of these students.
Yes, I have goosebumps, honestly. I felt every emotion preparing to share this story on the pod today, and recognizing, Marsha P. Johnson, the person who this piece was made after, like, they exemplified showing up regardless of whether people accept you. And at the time, it was a crime to, the term is cross-dress in New York City. And so she was thrown in jail, like a lot, for wearing makeup. And basically, around the Stonewall riots and what this song is about, that police would regularly raid gay clubs, like gay bars. There was just not a safe place to be. And I heard one of the Watertown students in an interview they gave to the news say that this feels like, in musical terms, a crescendo. Like, this is this moment where, just to give a little more context, this Emmanuel Evangelical Church drew 400 people into the church itself, was totally full. There was 100 to 150 people outside. And I know you saw the footage of people like literally putting their ear up to the church walls. And apparently over 3,000 people streaming. So this song is just getting so much more amplification. And just to share about what's happening tomorrow on Thursday, Governor Hopeful Kirk Bangstad invited students to play in Madison, actually at his brewing company, Minocqua Brewing Company. And it feels like the concert plans have really grown, and they've grown big enough that they're moving the concert to the Barrymore Theater. And it's expected to be largely a non-student musicians, but some of the members of the high school ensemble will play in this band. And, donations are going to actually go back to the Watertown band. And tickets apparently around $25 and can be purchased online. It's at 8 p.m. And you can't stomp out the music. When you try, it just sails through. And the Madison loves our gays and queers more than we can even say. Like, it's proven out in so many of our elected officials. Our mayor is an openly proud gay woman. We've got the first ever like openly transgender city council member, Dina Nina Martinez. Like, folks are loud and proud, and this just feels like a real demonstration of joy and connectedness, and you just love to see it.
Absolutely. And on the cusp of Pride Month, no less. I mean, it's still May, but it's about to be June. So go find your local queer and give them a hug, or maybe Venmo them for a nice latte, because that would be appreciated. I would love a nice latte. Non-dairy milk, though.
Well, we're going to move on to another event that was very connected and rooted in community, and get to our good news segment. Haley, you're taking it on this week.
Yes, we've got some good news here in our city this week. Honestly, we've got a lot of good news in the city this week. Like, don't mind me talking about ticks. But we on this segment are going to be shining a light on someone very special right here on the CityCast Madison team. Our very own Bianca Martin had a huge week last week, honestly, to put it quite lightly. Bianca, I don't have to tell you twice, but you hosted a conversation with former U.S. Poet Laureate Joy Harjo. That was over at the Overture Center. And then you are also named the recipient of Urban Triage's Reclaiming Our Voice Award. So I got to give you all the props this week. Congratulations. I mean, we're so, so, so proud. And I want to talk about both of these accomplishments, but let's start with Joy Harjo because we have been hyping it up on the podcast, on our Instagram. We've talked with the folks from the Wisconsin Academy who organized the event. Shout out to all of them and all the great work that they are doing. But Bianca, for folks who couldn't attend the event or didn't watch the live stream, how would you describe the experience?
It was magic, and I knew it would be. It was presence. It was a lot of people who wanted to connect with a meaningful voice. Joy Harjo is the first ever Native American to be named U.S. Poet Laureate, and her work and explorations really touch on issues that I think that a lot of us need connection around what it means to call this land home and the complicated nature of American history with the Indian Removal Act that was unlawfully signed and the Trail of Tears, and how we see that continuing on today with mass deportation. I know these are really heavy things, but we're seeing our neighbors threatened, being pushed out from their home. And it's this really scary time, and needing to communicate about things that feel impossible to talk about is just so critical right now. And she's one of the most articulate people in our country to do so and has thought about these issues a lot. So to hear from her, she did a performance of multiple poems and reading from her works for children, and hearing her life story, it was infused with humor and depth and just insight and fun. It was so human. The event was so human. And then I had the opportunity to moderate a conversation to continue what she had shared. And it was very anchored in the land that we are on, which is Tejob. This is Ho-Chunk territory in many senses. I guess that's probably not the greatest word, but just thinking about the fact that Ho-Chunk peoples have been here around these lakes on this land for thousands of years and have the longest standing connection to this place that we call home. And there were, so there were plenty of folks in the audience that were Ho-Chunk. It felt so intimate despite being a sold out room for, a 350 person venue. There were 5 listening session parties happening across the state in La Crosse, Viroqua, Wausau. I got a message from someone who's I was watching at the watch party in Wausau afterwards. And Jessica Becker, who's been on the show, she's one of the directors at the Academy, sent on a quote from a survey that they had received about the event so far. And somebody said that it was, quote, one of the most emotional and meaningful public events I've attended in the past many decades. And I'm not even here to toot my own horn, but rather the bringing Joy Harjo here and the Wisconsin Academy doing that, and the intentionality, and then reaching out to me. They thought I would be a great voice for this, and frankly, I agree. It worked out, and I am trying to be in tune with the emotional resonance of the choices we make in our society and in our community, and it was really, really beautiful. Jade Isiri Ramos, our producer, was there in the audience. I could see people's faces, and it was so connective, and I'm deeply grateful to the Academy and to Joy Harjo for, her vulnerability and everybody's willingness to show up. And I know I've been talking for a long time, but last thing I'll say is I've never seen a book signing line that long. It was 40 people deep, and yeah, a lot of Madison community was there.
There's just so much to take in with that. And I'm personally devastated that I couldn't be there, but aforementioned wedding. But I think it's such an amazing opportunity to step back and talk about all of these critical events that you just laid out, protecting our neighbors, talking about land, talking about just our connection to community. And we do that every day so much in this podcast, but like from that journalistic point of view, from that news source point of view, but to be able to be in conversation and like to be in presence with someone like Joy, who's doing it from the perspective of an artist, of a poet, of someone who is looking at things creatively, like, oh man, like that just sounds truly so, so magical. And, I'm wondering like if there was anything that Joy shared that really stuck with you from the event.
That's a good question, because there is a lot of poignancy. She said that she finds community everywhere that she travels, and she pointed over to 4 people sitting in the front row to the left of us, and they were of the Ho-Chunk Nation. And she said, turns out we have family, and that sort of connectedness where you don't even know how deep our roots are intertwined. I really felt that. And I felt like she is an embodiment of being able to demonstrate and connect through suffering and some of the harder things and not hiding that away and acting like everything's okay. But you can also talk about really painful things, grief, and laugh about it. You've been through some shit, and I think that was one of the essences from how she was just touching the absolute, depths of what it means to be a person, and then making the funniest joke a second later, and talking about us needing to be together at our family dinner tables and like sharing in our griefs and our joys. And yeah, it was a profound night. So when we tell you to go to something, it might be really good.
Yeah, you better listen up. It really sounds amazing, like truly an incredible experience. And, if folks couldn't make it, or if you want to learn more just about the work that the Wisconsin Academy does, because they do so much cool stuff, definitely recommend folks go back and listen to Bianca's conversation with Tiffany Rodriguez-Lee of the Wisconsin Academy to learn more. And we'll definitely throw a link to that in our show notes as well. And, as I mentioned, on top of hosting this incredible event, you also got an award. So sit tight. I'm going to gas you up for another few minutes. This one is from Urban Triage. And I'm going to read a little bit of a quote from their Instagram post with the award announcement. So this is the quote. It says, Bianca Martin is Black brilliance in action. She is a bold, visionary leader whose presence at CityCast Madison has elevated what community media can be and who it can serve. CityCast Madison is a platform built on the belief that our community deserves to own its own narrative, and Bianca is the force behind that mission, showing up every day with purpose, power, and an unwavering commitment to the people. She and CityCast Madison are one and the same in this moment, both deserving of every crown, every celebration, and every ounce of recognition this community has to give. I really couldn't have put it better myself. I mean, B, you have been with CityCast Madison since day one, right? Like, this is a huge representation of you. And like, it's so amazing to see you get recognized in that way. I remember like seeing the post and just being like, that's it. Like, that's my girl. Like, I'm so happy. And so, what does this kind of community recognition mean to you?
I was also surprised by it and delighted and recognizing that the work that we do matters. And it really felt that way in the conversation with Brandy Grayson coming on the show. We had an Alder write in and say, thank you for having this conversation. And what he said, I feel like is super true, which is there are a lot of media outlets that would shy away from talking about the challenging things or just have a really cookie cutter sort of response. And at the beginning of CityCast Madison and when we were promoting it, and to this day, the idea is to not just talk about the good things that Madison is doing, but also look at the bad things, look at the things that, really are not working out so well. And hearing that there are a lot of Black leaders in Madison making posts on Facebook to share about how they have been treated. It felt like also like a particularly important timing, an important moment where we're seeing the president of our Common Council say that she's been harassed for years and is trying to get a restraining order, or was trying to get a restraining order that was not granted against a leader in our community. And, I hear those stories even more so, like the stories that are public. Yes, we see those, and there are a lot more that don't get shared in the news. So having the time to sit down with Brandy and hear about her experience from her perspective, I think was really like just an important, vital thing. And I know that you, Haley, were a big part of making sure that happened, producing the show, connecting with Brandy. And I know the whole team kind of discussed like, what the heck? Y'all, like, do better, Madison. And we're all critical thinkers. We're not just taking that at face value. We read the stories and the outcomes, and we were going to shine a light. So, hey, Urban Triage, thank you for thinking of us and our work and calling me out specifically. I am a Black woman, and, I think about race a lot. And yeah, it's an honor. It's an honor, and we hope to continue those conversations.
Yeah. I think that's really everything that can be said, right? I mean, we're doing our best out here. And I mean, you carry so much of that every day, Bianca, in just hosting these conversations. And obviously it all is a team effort. But like, at the end of the day, you're the one that has to ask the hard questions. And, preparing for that Brandy interview, Brandy being the CEO and founder of Urban Triage, like that was a lot of work. And that was a lot of, personal thought and effort that went into it. So I'm super... It's just really encouraging to see you get this recognition and to just see CityCast Madison get this recognition. And, I'm not trying to toot our own horn here. Obviously, we kind of are, but
someone else is tooting our horn.
Exactly. And we got to dive in while we can. So, yeah, I think, good on you, Bianca. You done did it.
Thank you. And something else that just jumped out to me when you were talking, Haley, was in that interview, I started to choke. I literally started choking on my words because we were talking about an arrest that happened. And it is so physiologically challenging to talk about what it feels like to be a Black person. And when systems seem to be treating you like you're less than human. And I share that out of vulnerability, and also to say sometimes you need to speak up, like the quote says, speak up even if your voice shakes. And I think thinking about Marsha P. Johnson, Saint Marsha, if you don't know her history, please go find it. I know that's separate, but she was a Black transgender woman. And how dare someone try to silence that? And it did not work. So we're going to keep using our voices, and we're going to keep using this platform to bring these stories forward until we're all living lives that we don't have to worry about discrimination.
I think that's a beautiful place to wrap up this show.
Agreed. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Bianca.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm your host, Bianca Martin. You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to the CityCast Madison newsletter. And don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Madison. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone who likes banding together for our shared humanity? Alrighty, see you back here tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Until then, thanks for listening and take good care. I wanted to say Charlie bit me.
I'm going to name any tick I get Charlie so I can say that.